The Maryland Terps are not one of the better programs in the Big Ten. However, they did end it on a high note with a incredible bowl win against Virginia Tech. Can they do something even better this season here in 2022 with Coach Mike Locksley and quarterback Taulia Tagovailoa? Let's look at it. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, taking a look at Maryland. This will be another quick one here as I'm recording this late on a Wednesday. Hope everyone had a great day, a good week so far. It's been a week, but I'm getting through it. I know guys got a great plan, but we're going to make it through, and we're going to keep going with some Big Ten schedules here. Going to full screen this one for you guys to start out. Again, I mentioned 2021 Maryland, 7-6 overall. They win the Pinstripe Bowl over Virginia Tech, who was also a pretty good team, 6-6 record. 54-10 the final score. Bowl games like that for teams like this, normally you would hope show you what you could expect from them the following year. And in this case here in 2022, they shut down a team, but they also blow them out big time by 44 points. They obviously, I would say the offense just really stepped it up as the year went on. The defense was kind of slow, but it still kind of had its moments. I mean, they had 62-0 over a team in Howard Bison. That's really much of a team. I'll give them credit for a win over West Virginia week 1. I'll give them credit even for finding ways to win close games against teams like Illinois. And say whatever you want to about teams like that, but I think for where Maryland is, I think it's pretty good because they have been a trash can type of program for as long as I can remember. I mean, I don't remember the last time anyone really cared about Maryland football, but Mike Locksley has come over, formerly a offensive coordinator with the Crimson Tide of Alabama, and recruiting too. From the transfer portal, guys like Taulia Tagovailoa and great receiving weapons such as Dante Demas, who, by the way, had an injury. He got hurt against Iowa this past season. A really gruesome injury. We'll get to that in a minute. It's guys like that that'll come back and step up. And they lost that game too here to Iowa. Iowa was a good team. Ohio State they lost to. Minnesota. Notice the teams that they lost to were not bad teams. You know, they didn't lose to Rutgers. Even if they had lost to Virginia Tech, it's still not a bad loss, but they did beat them. They won their homecoming game against the Hoosiers, which I think was probably one of their better wins of the season, was against a team like Indiana. They lost to Michigan State, who had one of the better starts. I think they were like 5-0, 6-0 before they started losing some of their games. And Michigan won the Big Ten. You lose to them before rivalry weekend. So overall, I'd say it was the best start with a 4-0 record. And then they played the higher tier teams, and they had no answers for them. So that's the case for 2021. Let's take a look at what they could do. By the way, I'll say this, Coach Mike Locksley, 13-23 with a bowl win. And again, that coming this past season. So 13-23, you imagine he could still improve that record. You know, let's say, I mean, hypothetically, if he had a 12-0, he would be above 500 and be at, what would that be, 25-23? That's if they went 12-0, which, by the way, and know this real quick, folks, that's not going to happen. Anyway, back on track here. Let's look at what they can do in 2022. And again, this will be another quick one today. We'll just kind of knock it out of the park. Okay, start off pretty easy. Buffalo Bulls, Charlotte 49ers, and SMU Mustangs. I don't know what to make of those teams, but you start out with a pretty interesting non-con. I know SMU has fielded some killer teams over the past few years. You get them at home. I think that's a leg up for the Terps. Big Ten teams are tough to play on the road. Then you got to play at Michigan. You play Michigan State, at Purdue. Or actually, I'm sorry, home against Purdue, at Indiana, Northwestern. You get a bye week at Wisconsin, at Penn State. You play the Ohio State Buckeyes, and you play the Rutgers Scarlet Knights in your rival on rivalry weekend. Then you get the Big Ten championship. Highly doubt they're going to win the East, but we've seen some crazy stuff happen in college football before. We'll just have to wait and see what they can do. Is it a favorable schedule? In some ways. I mean, this is kind of a coin flip. They could go from a 5-7 to a 7-5 range, invert that real quick. Again, I mentioned they went 7-6 overall, won a Pinstripe Bowl, and they were 3-6 in Big Ten play. 9 Big Ten games every single year, and this one really tough schedule with teams like Penn State and Happy Valley. Ohio State, doesn't matter where you play them, everyone's picking them to probably win every single game. Rutgers could be interesting. Like I said, this will be quick. I don't think that they will have enough talent to really run much of a table. I like, how do I put this? I mentioned Northwestern I'm not too high on. I like teams like Indiana, but I'm going to call an upset there because I do think they get off. I don't think they're going to go on too much of a losing streak, but you want to talk about a stretch at Michigan, Michigan State, and then Purdue. That's a 3-game stretch with no bye in between. That's really tough, and I think they'll drop all 3 of those. At some point, they'll get back to winning. I haven't looked at the Hoosiers yet, but for right now, looking at Maryland's side of the coin in their schedule, they might get some redemption there in Bloomington. They might go there, play it very close in the 30s or something, maybe a 35-31. Maybe they get some defense to show up, and maybe they shut down Indiana. That's just something to look into. Northwestern, bye week, Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin. I've always liked their defense and what Paul Chryst has done. It's amazing to see that. I think that's a tough loss there. A lot of people are high on Franklin and Penn State. Sean Clifford comes back. Let's just call it what it is, folks. There's some of these teams you could just go ahead and say Maryland doesn't have what it takes to beat them. Penn State, Michigan State, Ohio State. I think those are at least 4 teams where they don't have a shot. So you put that on there, and then you kind of take it from there. I think they'll beat Rutgers. So I do think they're going to end the season on a high note there. Saturday, November 26th, right there on Rivalry Saturday for the 2021 or 2022 college football season. So I want to hear from you guys in the chat about Maryland. What am I missing? Because I really don't know. Talia Tagovailoa, I know, is coming back. Dante Demas is coming off injury. There's so much. I mean, you got Jacob Copeland as a receiver out of Florida. He comes in. You got Raheem Jarrett. You got Vidarius Cohen on the linebacker side, along with guys like Damian Robinson. Tarib Steele is a defensive back. They have some some really good players. They really do. But they're young. So you got to look at it like that and just realize, you know, are they going to be able to field a good enough team that it steps up and, you know, is able to defend or offend? If you want to talk offense here, is it going to be enough offense? I love their offense this year. I just think when you get into a match like Ohio State or Penn State, those are the bigger tier teams in the Big Ten that you're just going to have a little extra. And quite honestly, I don't know if they will. It's possible. I mean, could they get into a match with Michigan or Michigan State and get an upset? Could they get into a game with Penn State and get an upset? I think it's a good possibility, but I'm also going to sit here and say that it's also possible and most likely that they won't. But again, I want to hear from you guys in the comments. That's all I got for this one. Please do me a favor. Again, I'm going to go ahead and say 6-6. They're still bowl eligible. Coach Mike Locksley, by the way, 13-23 with a bowl win. I think that record's going to improve, and as the years go on, he'll solidify his status to maybe be a good head coach there. We'll wait and see, but I think this is a make or break year for him. I think this is a year where he has to do something, maybe to win another bowl game. We'll have to wait and see. But again, 6-6, still bowl eligible. In conference play, I think, is where it makes it really, really tough for them. And oh, by the way, that's where I have their losses. At Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Penn State, and Ohio State. So all of those in conference. So I think they go undefeated in the non-conference play. Buffalo, Charlotte, SMU. That's 3. Yeah, so I guess 3-0 in the out-of-conference schedule. And again, 3 more wins on the schedule for Big Ten games, but you're bowl eligible. And I think that's where Maryland is, and what they should be shooting for is making bowl games and winning them. And obviously they were able to do that last year in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl against Virginia Tech in the Bronx of New York. New Yorkers. Yeah, you know what we're talking about. Anyway, so I'm going to go 6-6. And again, their losses: Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Penn State, and Ohio State. But we will wait and see what happens. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. He's got a great plan. Hey, don't give up, man. I'll be honest, it's been kind of a rough week for me. Y'all keep me in your prayers. But doing okay, making it through. Like I say, God's got a plan. Just got to have hope, faith, and believe in that, and see what he can do. But I love y'all. Hope everyone has a great weekend ahead as we're coming up on that. Jesus loves you. God bless. And like I always say,
roll down Tide.
Roll Tide, roll. Love y'all. Ballard's out. Peace.